Hi, I'm Dario Cortez. Berkeley College believes that all citizens need to be informed about the important issues that affect our daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and the partners in public television.
The human side of crime, next on Caucus, New Jersey.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by TD Bank, Berkeley College, New Jersey Natural Gas, proud to support education in our communities, JFK Medical Center, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, NJM, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, and more, with a focus on safety and financial stability, and by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, Small News, Big News, True Jersey, and by Commerce Magazine.
Welcome to Caucus, New Jersey. I'm Steve Adubato. In New Jersey, successful prisoner reentry programs have helped offenders successfully enter society again. Joining us here in the studio to discuss the challenges and the triumphs of offender reentry programs, we have Glasheen Salam, an ex-offender who now helps offenders transition back into their communities successfully. Our good friend John Clancy is the chairman and chief executive officer of the Community Education Centers. Arthur Towns is an ex-offender who now teaches the life skills that offenders need to successfully enter society after they've been released from prison. And finally, Jason Zimmerman, who's had a past involving multiple drug offenses. Now he works with offenders, aiding them in their recovery. Now, all of our guests are connected to an organization called Community Education Centers. John, you've been with us many times. For those who may have missed it or do not remember what Community Education Centers is, describe it.
Well, Community Education Centers is headquartered here in New Jersey. It was founded in 1996 for the purpose of working with prisoners that were leaving the New Jersey Department of Corrections in an effort to teach them how to stay out of jail, how to not go back to prison. That begins with educating them in regard to alcohol and drug addiction. But as important, it's about decision-making, their attitudes, their approaches. We work with their families. And so that hopefully, and our belief and experience has been that their children won't follow the same path that they had unfortunately followed. And Community Education Centers now operates in 18 states. We're in Bermuda. We're the largest company in the country that serves reentry, extremely successful. And the success here in New Jersey, we've cut the prison population down. It's down by about a third now. And certainly Community Education Center has been a major contributing factor to that.
John, before I turn to your colleagues, not in any way to be critical of the traditional correctional system, but how would you describe the biggest difference between traditional or the traditional jail situation and what you guys do?
Well, I think that we are at the tail end of a continuum. So people would commit crimes, they'll go into prison, and prison is a time-driven system. It's really driven about the punishment that's been handed out by a judge. When people come to us, we treat them dramatically differently. Okay, they're no longer a number. Although we have a file, they are still inmates, but we treat them much more humanely. And we begin to work with them as we would expect that they would begin to live once they leave us. And it's very different, dramatically different, the way that they're treated, okay, and they're housed differently, they're fed differently, and everything about it is different.
Let's break it down. Glasheen, you completed 13 months in the community, the CEC. You said you were, quote, rescued.
Yes.
Define that.
My life was in turmoil.
Describe it. You've been with us before. And
yes.
Again, I don't want to assume everyone saw that on public broadcasting. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I was living a life of violence, drugs, prostitution, just darkness. It was no light at the end of the tunnel. And I knew I needed help. I didn't know how to stop doing the things that I was doing. So my help came in the form of handcuffs, and I was rescued.
Describe the community education centers, what it do for you.
Community education centers helped me learn how to live my life again.
Be more specific.
All the things that I have lost while outside in my addiction, my dignity, my self-respect, my self-worth, I lost all of that. And when I got to Delaney Hall in 2007.
Delaney Hall is one of the CEC
Correct.
programs, one of the facilities. Go ahead.
Yes, it is. When I got there to Delaney Hall, the staff that was there, I have to say it, they're phenomenal, okay? They helped me build those things back up in my life again.
Let's talk about how they do it, because I think people can't imagine, right? I described a little bit about your background before. Let's break down what really goes on. Do you wake up at a certain time?
Yeah.
Yes.
The program.
Not the time you want to wake up.
No.
Well, coming from a
Why are you laughing, John?
coming from a unstructured lifestyle, and pretty much having a belief system that you can do whatever you want. Don't have to have no responsibilities. The program is introducing you into structure.
Break it down.
We get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You have to be on the floor. You have to make your beds by 7. You're eating and in programs by 9 o'clock. And what that exemplifies is a normal working day. Like I had to get up at 6 o'clock this morning. I don't make my bed all the time, but make my bed, right? My wife gets crazy about that, and
You're slipping, right?
But you just said that on public broadcast.
That I was
That's just not that you don't, like everybody knows now you don't make the bed.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And it helped me when I first got home to really kind of look at reintegrating myself back into the pro-social world.
Was it that hard?
For me, yes.
Why?
Because I had got conditioned, and like Mrs. Salam talked about, my inner belief system was that like prison was my fate, based on the choices I was making.
Your fate?
Right. You add that with drug addiction, which then helps you develop or creates in you a belief system of low self-worth, low self-pity, and different things like that. So. And we not to be pointing at the finger at the society, but also society isn't always forgiving of us based on our decision making. And I had all that boiling inside of me, which then came out in my negative behaviors. And Talbot Hall, which is the program I came out of.
Talbot Hall, one of the CEC programs as well. Go ahead.
Right. And once I got there in 1998, they helped me recognize that those were just bad choices, that I wasn't a bad person overall. You know what I mean? And that was the beginning. Like Mr. Clancy talked about being treated with dignity. When I came from being an inmate number 292420 to Mr. Towns.
You remember that number just like that?
They told me not to forget it for whatever reason.
You remember it?
Yeah, and I still remember it.
Because you're Mr. Towns.
Now I'm Mr. Towns.
I hear you not just nodding, but saying yes. Why?
Yes, because I can identify with Mr. Towns' experience in the treatment facility because I came through Delaney Hall as well.
What was your life like before?
It was terrible. My life was really in shambles. I struggled with drug addiction, dereliction, crime, and low-level offenses that just kept me coming in and out of jails and stuff. So I have been to jails, county jails, multiple various county jails. I've been to state prison, but when I got to Delaney Hall, it was there that made the difference for me because the staff members, like Mr. Towns was saying, was treating me with respect. They encouraged me. They helped lift my self-esteem. They believed in me. They checked on me. They were approachable. They didn't have handcuffs and billy clubs. They weren't standoffish. So it was these team of people that truly inspired me, especially the Alumni Association coordinator at that time. It was a man named Mr. Abdus Salam Logan. He passed away now, a really influential person in my life. He would come to our facilities with an alumni panel, a host of people that would talk about their reentry process. And they told me that if they can, I can too. Just come and hang out with them, and they would show me a new way to live.
What did it tell you?
That told me that I can too. I do have a chance. I can be somebody. I can rebuild my life. So I bought into the concept of CEC.
What's the biggest change in your life right now?
I'm actually a productive member of society today. I do not commit offenses. I have 8 years clean from drugs
How
and
many years?
alcohol. 8 years, going on 9.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Going on 9 years clean. I've been an operations counselor for CEC. I've been a clinical program counselor, thanks to Mr. Clancy.
Helping others.
Helping others. They put a clinical program, an education program in place called the Academy.
Look, you're trying to remember the exact name of the program.
Yes.
What does it do?
Certified Drug and Alcohol Counseling
Oh,
Academy.
you're going to get that right.
Yes.
What does it do?
It qualifies individuals to take their CADC exam and become a certified drug and alcohol counselor in the state of New Jersey.
John, what are you hearing?
I'm hearing.
I see you smiling the whole time.
Well, sure, I'm always smiling about, so many people don't realize how redeemable people that have been involved, with alcohol and drugs and crime are, I mean, we've seen tens of thousands of people around the country be given information and embrace it. All we can do is provide the information. They have to make a decision to take hold of it and then take the action. And so the folks that are here with me, today, they're just a great example, of that. And then they carry it on to others. And it's just there's so many, just society doesn't realize it and the system doesn't realize it.
Whoa, back up. Society doesn't realize it.
Right.
Meaning, do you believe, because Mr. Towns was saying, Arthur, you're saying, you felt that a fair number of folks in society, if not society across the board, was expecting certain things of you, basically that you would wind up in prison.
Right.
And John is saying, I think something similar. Are you saying it's something similar?
Well, sure. I mean, I think that in general, people think that people that commit crimes, and are addicted to drugs will never get better, will never change, and that we should just put them away. I mean, that is not New Jersey's approach.
Lock them up.
And lock them up. And
throw away the key.
Absolutely.
And turn your back.
Correct.
You say.
Right. And we certainly believed, I've never believed that, for 40-something years I've never believed that. And so we have certainly, so many of us have dedicated our lives, to working with populations that have been involved, with substance abuse. And we have a governor today in New Jersey, that obviously knows that so many people are redeemable, that he's working with and supporting, changes in the system. We see the same support happening in other states, and so I think that as people understand and we put the statistics out there, I mean, nothing to do with the people here today, but people don't want to spend money on prisons. They want to spend money on roads. They want to spend money on education. They want to be proactive, and so when you think about a prison population in New Jersey dropping by 1/3.
Right.
I mean, that's a tremendous savings of life, of people that aren't going back into that system, that are becoming taxpayers, that are contributing to society, whose children, will have a much better chance, at life.
Breaking the cycle.
Breaking the cycle.
Let's do this. By the way, you see a website up throughout this program, right there. That's Community Education Center's website to get the resources, information, valuable insight as to what's going on and how you can find out more. I want to come back to you. But there are a lot of folks who are watching this right now who are trying to imagine not only what your life is like now, but what you were describing before. Incredibly challenging and difficult life. And my question is, can you go back, when you went back to your old neighborhood, and I don't even know if you did, when you left community education centers after 13 months, did you go back to the old neighborhood, of the place you grew up? And if so, what was the reaction of those around you? Because you sound like I guess you were the same person, but with a whole different view on life and a range of new skills, life skills. What was the reaction around you?
Well, I actually still live in my same environment. In my same neighborhood, I live in the same place.
Is that advisable, or just the way it is? And that's where you are. So how do you say to yourself, hey, listen, you do what you're doing, I'm doing, I have to do what I have to do?
Well, actually what happens is I see a lot of the people that I used to run with, get high with and things like that. And they know what I do today. And they come up to me and they say, Glo, I'm so proud of you and everything you've accomplished. And I let them know, when you're ready, let me know.
Do you say that?
Yes, I do.
What kind of reaction you get?
Okay, I'll let you know. I always have business cards on hand to give them a business card and let them know that they can call me when they need me.
How hard do you push?
I push hard. But what I've learned in this process is not to be too overbearing with it. Is, you know, it happens at everyone's time, at their own pace. You know, so when they're ready.
Let's talk about some of the challenges you face trying to re-enter. You use that term a lot, right? You use the term, but what does it really mean? Getting a job. Because I believe when you're applying for a job, there are questions that you are asked.
Yes.
And the application asks, have you been convicted of a felony?
Right.
Is that the ban the box issue?
Yes.
Okay, John, you'll talk about that, but that is a question you're asked.
Yes.
And once you answer that question a certain way, the employer has a choice.
Yeah. Well, we can't say, they have a choice, and we can't say what that end result of that choice is, but implicitly, we believe that once that box is checked, more none than some, that application is going to get the last call back, if any at all.
Right.
And in the state of New Jersey, we just recently ran a campaign, and the Alumni Association was a part of that campaign to have a bill, which the governor signed to, eliminate that barrier from the initial application.
So the initial job application, John, what does it do?
Well, again, the initial job application, usually gets rejected. Okay, but I mean, when you think about what we teach, I mean, we're people that have a history with substance abuse are probably the most skilled, dishonest liars that you will ever come across.
Right.
Okay, and so a major teaching is for us to teach and encourage people to be honest. So we can't teach them to go and apply for a job and lie.
It would go against everything you've taught.
Absolutely right.
Go ahead.
Okay, and so they are encouraged to tell the truth, and so they were always up against this obstacle.
What do you think that obstacle truly is once the answer is yes?
Well, I think that people, when it's yes, okay, there's a reaction. Some people will ask, they'll be able to tell you better than me, but I think some people will ask and say, well, what did you do? Okay, what was it? Okay, how bad was it? And the reality is that people that have been through the system, people that have had these problems, they're better employees, okay, than so many people that they're hiring off the street that they don't know anything about.
Did you face it?
Yes, on several occasions.
Several?
Yes. During the application process, they asked, have you ever been convicted of a crime or a felony? And I would put yes and will explain upon interview. However,
hold on, you said yes, will explain upon interview.
Yes. I was hoping,
How do you even know you're going to get an interview then?
I was praying that I would get an interview.
Oh boy.
Yes, Steve. I was
boy.
praying that I would get an interview so I'd be able to explain to the people that my past doesn't determine my today. However, I never got that interview.
Oh my God.
When I came to work for career education centers, that was not an issue. I'm glad to say.
So John, hold on. Community education centers takes you on, but so hold on. So we all understand this.
Yeah.
You're encouraged to be honest.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You answered honestly, but said, just give me the chance to explain.
Please, right.
And you don't know why. Could be a coincidence. I don't know. But you don't even get the chance to explain.
Correct.
What could that, now you were fortunate enough to come into the organization and work and make a difference.
Yes.
But what about for those who don't wind up working for community education centers? What about, and they're out there in the marketplace trying to get a job, trying to be productive, and they did the right thing, they paid their debt, they worked the program, and now the answer is you're not getting an interview. Well, help me. Help us.
Well,
How do you stay positive with that?
you have to stay positive.
Because?
You have to. Or you'll go back to doing what you was doing before that landed you back in jail or prison in the first place. You have to stay positive and you have to remain hopeful. But I need to point out, it's not only with employment.
What do you mean?
It's with housing also.
Housing? What does
Yes.
housing have to do with this?
If you have a record, you're an ex-offender, and you want to go and fill out for the new developments that they're building today, if you have a criminal background, you will not get approved.
You will not get approved for?
Housing. To rent from their housing complex.
Yeah, they do background checks
Yes.
on pretty much a whole lot of
So let me get this
common
straight.
issues.
Let me get this straight. Real hard to get, forget about the job, but real hard to get the interview to get the job.
Correct.
Very hard to find a place to live, a decent place to live.
Right. And in some cases, other barriers such as education,
Yeah.
some may even if you talk about supplement support, temporary assistance from the social service agencies. If you have a certain charge, you won't you won't qualify for that. So what you do is you put that person in a position to kind of revert back to what they know, which is I don't trust the system. I don't want to deal with this system that doesn't have my best interests at heart. And not to tout us on the panel, but had it not been for the Alumni Association, which gives me
the CEC Alumni Association,
added support system, because all of us have answered yes to that question that we had to check the box and had a reaction. And I too had got turned away from jobs, 2 on the same day.
Oh, boy.
And had I not had that other safety net to go back to, because they understood that, I know for a fact that I was on my way to commit a crime, and I made a phone call.
Well, and a couple of points is that that's exactly right. Okay, with all those obstacles that people that they do their time, they've met their obligations, they've gone through this process, and then they have these added obstacles that they have to get over. You asked the question about where do you live. I mean, really the answer for the long-term problems is in the community. It's not CECs of the world, okay? I mean, it's really, they are the answer, the people that are here, and all those tens of thousands that have gone out.
Why are you saying you're not the answer?
Well,
Are you temporary answer?
We're a temporary answer. We've planted seeds. We have many, many, many thousands of people out there now living in communities all over the country.
But you got to get back into the community.
But it's them, okay? I mean, it's them with their kids, their families,
That's
their
right.
relatives, okay, and the others that they interact with, okay? That when the seed is planted and the card is given, okay, and it may be a year, maybe 10 years later, that somebody will come and ask for help, and the help will be there, okay? That's where.
What do the rest of us owe, John? What do the rest of us, people watching right now in public broadcasting, FiOS everywhere watching us, who say, Howard, this is very inspiring. I really appreciate it. I don't understand everything. Hopefully you'll go check out the website that you see right there, the CEC website. But you know something? They broke the law. And that's the price you pay. Basically, your life is ruined. There are people watching right now who are inspired by the fact that you've turned your lives around and good things are happening, but they wouldn't give them a job, much less an interview, right? You don't even know.
Right.
And may not even want them living anywhere near them if they owned an apartment building or even down the street, who knows? What do we owe?
Who out there that's watching is perfect, okay?
That's right.
That, everybody has made mistakes. Everybody is deserving, in my opinion, of a second chance. They've done their time. When you think about people that are going into the correctional system in this country, well, 95% of them that go in come out.
That's right.
Okay? You're spending billions and billions of dollars, okay? And if the system isn't changed and isn't more progressive on that reentry process.
And if we don't accept people coming back,
they're going to go back.
Going back to
jump in. Sorry, John.
I would say that community and society as a whole has a big part to play as far as the continuum of care once our residents are released back into the community, because they come through the jail or the county, they come through our facilities, we go through the rehabilitation process,
Right.
we prepare them for reentry. Myself, and on the end of recovery services, I prepare that aspect so guys and girls can have ongoing recovery and know how to get to it, and it's attainable and tangible for them. Alumni Services is the absolute support group.
Well, what can we do?
On the outside, the continuum of care comes in that the education system, the employment system, the housing system, be open-minded, be fair to the individuals that have paid their dues and went through the change
Just
process.
looking for a chance. Just looking for an opportunity.
Yes, be open-minded. I would say to the communities and the employers and the educational institutions, be open-minded, give people a chance. No one's perfect. However, we need to understand that a person's past does not dictate their today.
A few seconds left. Your advice to those watching who may be wondering if they're ever going to get an opportunity to successfully be part of society again and may have done some things that they regret.
Well, what I would tell them is to stay focused on the goal and not the obstacles to get to the goal.
What do you mean?
Focus on the goal. No matter what you go through, it's a goal that you are trying to reach. But the ultimate overall goal is to never return. But whenever you're trying to make your goals and you trying to reach it, whatever you go through, no matter what it is, reach out, ask for help, and just know that you can reach the goal. Remain hopeful.
I cannot thank all of you enough, and I am very hopeful. I would say confident that you have all made a powerful difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. N13 for WNET, NJTV, and WHYY. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by TD Bank, Berkeley College, New Jersey Natural Gas, JFK Medical Center, MD Advantage, New Jersey Manufacturers, and by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Company offers policies that can protect against auto accidents, fires, windstorms, floods, and many other serious and urgent situations. Tips on what to do before, during, and after you're confronted with the unexpected are on the emergency preparedness section of njm.com. New Jersey Manufacturers, helping the Garden State prepare for the unexpected for nearly a century.